Hello guys, welcome back. If you've been with the channel for a while, you know what I call Loki's stealth healings, where he decides you need a healing and he just pounces up in the air like a fox and comes down, boom, with both front paws. He is the first tree to do that on me. Afterwards I made him pizzas, or I made him pizza. Um, so we made pizza and it actually came out really good. We used canned chicken and fried onions on it. They don't include cheese in the package, which I don't realize, but it came out pretty good. Anyhow, we play that game and it's kind of like it feels timely for somebody. It's okay to cry, it's okay to grieve. You should not hold emotions in, especially if you need to cry. It's very healing. And we have almost a phobia of crying in our society. Women are allowed to cry, men are allowed to cry if they just lost a big sports game, but other than that, nobody's allowed to cry, right? Like, you could have one single tear at a funeral, but we don't grieve as a people, especially Americans. We're a very stoic people. We like sad movies, we like the idea of crying, but to actually admit we cry, we think there's something wrong with us. But you sometimes need to grieve. And there was a lot of stuff that typical American I am, we don't deal with it. We just put it on a shelf in our mind and we forget about it. We never deal with it. I had to deal with. And spoiler alert, the game ends up dealing with, the loss of his father, and he had lost his mother as a child, and just all the stuff he went through, all the stuff his wife had gone through. If you think his story is sad, hers is even sadder. And it's the story of the fox, and it's just very, it opens up all the emotional floodgates because there's one point the music's soaring and you found your second cub dead, and the wolf is not standing far from you, and you sniff your cub and you're making these crying sounds like you do, and you lay down beside your cub and the wolf is just staring you down, and then something inside me broke and I charged at that wolf. And I knew I was a fox and I knew I would probably die, and I didn't care. He killed my baby. So I was charging at that wolf, and the wolf just growls and runs away and leads you into the final stage. And other spoiler alert, when you finally played all of her story, you've led her to the tree. Because you eventually do lead her to the tree. You get a chance to leave a message for other players. So I left something about not giving up on hope, because I'm like, that sounds good, because you need a lot of hope to make it through this game. And I got a message. I don't know if it's from the programmer or it was somebody else left it. You get your message when you play a bonus round. You play as him, and he has moved back to Anchorage or wherever he came from. And you see all the stuff you saw during the game, a lot of it, and you go outside of your house and you go into your puff tent where you go camping, and this light appears. And this fox has appeared either as a spirit guide or an angel or whatever you believe she might be in this game. And she's beautiful and she's white and she's glowing, and she starts running and you start running after her. And as you're running after her, the barren dead landscape bursts into bloom and this beautiful epic music is playing. It's funny now, it wasn't funny then. I have tears streaming out of my eyes. I can't see. I'm sobbing. I'm barely able to see to follow this fox, and you're following her and you're running and running and running, and at times you're like close enough to touch her tail, and then she gets ahead again and she leads you to the first tree. And you look at the message you get, and I got a message of from her to her cubs of, Mom will always love you and watch over you, and I'll see you again when it's time for us to meet. And I just lost it because I've lost my mom like about a decade ago. And you have a cinematography thing where it turns you around and you see the mom and you see her three cubs with her, and they're all spirits and they go off, and you soar up into the air and the music crescendos, and I just lost it. I put my head down on my desk. I had a good cry. But sometimes you have to let that stuff out. And grief is kind of one of those things where it can go in a cycle. You can have years, even a decade or so, where you're like perfectly fine after a loss. And then one day the tears still come, as I had a teacher tell me, didn't understand till I had to be in the same place. And it's okay. It's okay to grieve because you lost a significant part of your life and you're not just grieving for that loss. You're grieving for what you didn't get to say, what you didn't get to do, what you did do. You're grieving for all of that too. But the good thing about being pagan is that we believe our deceased go on, and that, they certainly, I believe, know what we feel, and they know what we wish we could make right. And the whole game is about everything he regretted, and as he realized he wasn't going to have a chance to fix it, um, he regretted every, thing he did wrong in his life, but I'm sure his father forgave him. It's just, it's hard. But look, he knew I needed the healing. He knew I needed to cry, and he's like, "You should tell them it's good to cry," because Loki's good at that. Loki's actually good at grief. He's good at encouraging us to cry, and he's good at encouraging us to let grief out. Because we live in a society that's too happy. He definitely is a god of comedy, and he is a god of laughter. He'll cheer you up after you've had a good cry, but he is also a god of letting that grief out and not being ashamed of it and just sitting with it and letting it flow through you, not trying to fight it down, not trying to ignore it, not, "Oh, I'm okay," just, let the feelings flow through you and it speeds up the process a lot faster. Trust me. It's okay to sit with your grief for a while. You don't have to unpack your bags and move in, just, sit with it for a while and then you'll feel better. And so after that, and after I finally calmed down, I went back to work on this temple. So they have a private garden, the first ever hand-built fireplace I've made, and it will be the only one because they're the kind of mechanism I had to use for the fire just doesn't exist. We don't have any more of them. And Segan got to build a suite of rooms this time, so they have a bedroom, the fireplace room, they have the library. So I told her I want to build her a kitchen too, but she has to help me figure this thing out. So she's helping me, figure this thing out. And we're working together on it. So it's going to be exciting. So we just figured we'd share that with you guys. It's I kind of like doing it more this way because nobody's handing it to me. So if we have a fireplace, I built it. If we end up having a sink and a fridge, I built that too. So it's just us having to think outside the box and try to use our imaginations. There are going to be times people are going to look at stuff. Well, they're private, but you would look at stuff and be like, "What's that supposed to be?" That is obviously a fridge, dude. Can't you tell? But we're trying. So if you guys like what you see, like, comment, and subscribe. But that felt timely for one of you. It's okay to grieve and it's okay to be sad. And I tell you what I learned at Psychology 101 for what it's worth. Every grief for every loss is going to be different. You could lose, say, parents or a family member or a spouse and be relatively okay. You're sad, but it's bearable, and you could lose a pet and just the floodgates open and you're devastated and you can't go on. Grief doesn't come assigned in a certain quota for each kind of loss. There's not a set amount for losing a child and a set amount for losing a parent or a spouse or a sibling or a loved one or whomever. And it comes in cycles. You'll come into a place of healing and you'll be pretty good for, the rest of your life. It does get better, it really does. But then you'll have something touch you off and you will cry because you're still going to be sad. You're going to miss these people or, pets or companions or whomever the rest of your life. But you're going to deal with it and you are going to move on as the little fox does because that's really your only option and you don't have to move on right away. You know when you should move on, but move on doesn't mean put them behind you and don't love them. It means move on and live the kind of life they would have wanted you to live. So kind of like think of it like doing something with your life that you're not beholden to them, because let's say your mom passes and she always wanted you to be a lawyer and that was the last thing you wanted to be. You don't have to go become a lawyer, but do try to live the kind of life that when you look back, you can say, well, I missed mom, but I went on and I made something out of myself. Whatever it is, even if, like my mom would say, even if you end up collecting garbage or scrubbing toilets or sweeping streets, do the best you that you can possibly be. It doesn't have to be a PhD or something. So it just felt timely for one of you. I don't know why, but if you guys like what you see, like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you later. Bye bye.